How are people going to cope?
It's absolutely right. These are shocking levels of increases. I represent Wolverhampton South East. We've got a lot of low-income families in a constituency like that. I've been on the doorstep in recent weeks and people are really worried about this. They don't know how they're going to pay. And even before these rises have been announced, people have been so fearful. They've been turning their heating off, even in very cold weather, fearful about what's coming. And this is just one part of a triple whammy that's coming at households right now. You've got the energy price rises, which we're talking about today. You've also got tax rises coming in April, and you've got declining real wages. And these three things are coming together to squeeze household incomes in a way that we haven't seen for many, many years.
The Chancellor's doing what he can, though, isn't he?
Well, the Chancellor's come to this very, very late. We've been calling for action on energy prices for months now. We've been talking about cutting the VAT from energy prices, and we produced a fully costed package right at the beginning of the year, which would have offered households £200 off their bill for everyone, with another £400 off for the poorest families. And we did that in a fully costed way. What's interesting about the speculation about what the Chancellor might announce today is that he's not asking the oil and gas companies, who are making the most out of all this, to pay a single penny towards this. Instead, he's doing it on a buy now, pay later way.
Yeah, although it's the Prime Minister who said that that's not going to happen. But, you know, the Prime Minister tells us lots of things that are not going to happen and then potentially they do. Is that the way forward?
Well,
this windfall tax?
When we produced our package, we did it in a fully costed way, because if I'd come in here, Kay, and said we're going to do this and that on energy bills, the first question you'd have asked me is how are you going to pay for it? So we did that in a fully costed way. By contrast, certainly as far as the speculation goes, today the Chancellor is going to announce what is in effect a buy now, pay later scheme, where he borrows the money for this from taxpayers and asks them to repay it in future years.
Country's skint. We've got no money.
And he doesn't ask the oil and gas companies to pay a penny. Let me give you an example. Shell have just announced their recent profits. They made a profit of $20 billion last year. The chief executive described it as a momentous year. They're planning share buybacks and increased dividends, but they're not being asked to pay a penny towards the package.
So all roads are leading back to a windfall tax, is that what you're saying?
Well, I think the package should be fully costed, and let me place this in a wider context. This week we've already learned that $4.3 billion has been written off by the government on COVID fraud. Yeah. We've learnt that almost $9 billion has been written off on PPE costs. Yeah. And now we have a package that might cost $5 or $6 billion, where he doesn't ask for any extra contribution towards it. And you do have to ask yourself, why have the Conservatives become so complacent about public money?
Well, they would say that we're in the middle of a pandemic, because I put those points to Michael Gove yesterday, all sorts of reasons he gave to me for that. But nevertheless, let me just ask you once more, is Labour suggesting a windfall tax would be the right way forward?
Yes, we've been saying that for some weeks
now.
OK.
OK. As far as the Prime Minister is concerned, it's called a cream tea coup. It's never going to catch on. It's not catchy at all, is it? How much longer has he got?
Look, I can't guess this. Boris Johnson has been a survivor. He's always got out of scrapes, usually by making somebody else clean up the mess. This is down to him on the one hand and to Conservative MPs on the other. I think the problem reflecting in the last few months is just what he's done to degrade the office, to degrade trust. And it's quite cynical in the end, because he hopes to survive on the basis that everybody will think all politicians are rogues and to drag everyone down to his level. And I think the country and our governance deserves better than that.
You got a slap on the wrists before Prime Minister's questions yesterday from the Speaker, but then he doubled down again, talking about Jimmy Savile. Is your leader just going to leave that?
Well, he raised it yesterday, and, you know, I think that comment from Boris Johnson says more about him than anybody else. The fact that our Prime Minister would reach into the darkest corners of internet rubbish and repeat it, not once but twice now in the House of Commons, says quite a lot about his approach to life. And as I say, it's revealing of him and his character, but it doesn't say anything about Keir Starmer, because it's not true.
Talk to me about Ukraine. We had 4 Russian jets buzzing our borders yesterday. The RAF went up and saw them off. They didn't come into British airspace. But he's just testing the borders, isn't he? He's just testing where the boundaries are.
That's exactly what he's doing. And well done to the RAF, who are constantly in the skies, keeping us safe. We've got to show maximum solidarity with NATO. My party founded NATO, and that alliance of Western countries has helped keep us safe since the end of the Second World War. And we've got to say to President Putin that it's up to the people of Ukraine to decide their own future and their own path in the future. It's not up to him to act in an old imperialist way through this concept of spheres of influence, where he gets to decide what kind of government exists in neighbouring countries to his own.
Are we doing enough as a country to help?
Well, I still think that whatever's happening domestically, we have respect through having a strong military. And we've got to show, not in a reckless way, but we've got to show that that military is there, that we stand in solidarity with our allies. NATO is a solidarity alliance. That's what it is. And we've got to make that very clear, especially to those countries in Eastern Europe who are members, who'll be very fearful now when they see that kind of Russian aggression.
I don't know if you've seen our Alex Crawford's report on Afghanistan. It was running last night. We can't actually show our viewers until after 9 o'clock because it is so distressing. My goodness me, any parent watching. It is, you know, you must watch it, but it is absolutely terrible to watch lots of children, particularly babies, who are struggling in Afghanistan. 22.8 million people facing severe hunger. 8.7 million are on the brink of starvation. How can we have allowed this humanitarian catastrophe to unfold?
I haven't seen the report that you're talking about, but
I'm sure
I believe, I've seen others which, and you're absolutely right in terms of how you sum it up. There are millions of people on the edge of starvation. There are parents having to sell their children in order to try to buy food for a few $100s. The world must set up, and that too. The world must set up. It must do more. And, just because the Taliban are running that country, we can't let the people there starve. So countries that have the means to help, and we are in a position where we do have some means to help, together with other similar countries, have got to make sure the aid gets to the people there, whoever's running the country.
Sure. When I put that to Therese Coffey last week, Work and Pension Secretary, she said, we're doing our bit.
Look, we can't just turn our backs on this because our military's pulled out, because of the change that happened in August. When you see millions of people on the edge of starvation, you've got to act in concert with other countries who can help to do so. It would be the most appalling humanitarian catastrophe to let this get any worse.
But what level of responsibility should we accept, given that it was such a chaotic withdrawal?
Well, I don't see it so much as a sort of responsibility in that way, but it's a responsibility in a human way. When you look at people who are starving, where there's an economy that's just not functioning, you can hardly speak about a functioning economy there at all. And whoever's fault all this is, it's not the fault of people in Afghanistan who are starving. And that's why us, the United States, France, Germany, other countries who have means, have got to do more to get help to people there.
OK, it's good to talk to you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank
Much
you.
appreciated.